Hello, this is Sujata Kancharla. Today I'm going to discuss about economic reforms. I'm going to discuss about liberalization, privatization and globalization. This is very much useful topic for all competitive exams and the other people who want to know about our economy. Let's discuss about introduction. India followed mixed economy. Since independence, India followed the mixed economy framework by combining the advantages of the capitalist economic system with those of the socialist economic system. In 1991, India met with an economic crisis relating to its external debt. The government was not able to make repayments on its borrowings from abroad, foreign exchange reserves, which we generally maintain to import petroleum and other important items, dropped to levels that were not sufficient for even a fortnight. So, let us discuss about background now. The origin of financial crisis can be traced from the inefficient management of the Indian economy in the 1980s. Development policies required that even though the revenues were very low, the government had to overshoot its revenue to meet challenges like unemployment, poverty, and population explosion. When the government was spending a large share of its income on areas which do not provide immediate returns, such as the social sector and defense, there was a need to utilize the rest of its revenue in a highly efficient manner. The income from public sector undertakings was also not very high to meet the growing expenditure. In the late 1980s, the government expenditure began to exceed its revenue by such large margins that meeting the expenditure through borrowings became unsustainable. Prices of many essential goods rose sharply. Imports grew at a very high rate without matching growth of exports. Foreign exchange reserves declined to a level that was not adequate to finance imports for more than 2 weeks. There was also not sufficient foreign exchange to pay the interest that needed to be paid to international lenders. India approached International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, popularly known as World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, and received 7 billion as loan to manage the crisis. For availing the loan, these international agencies expected India to liberalize and open up the economy by removing restrictions on the private sector, reduce the role of government in many areas, and remove trade restrictions between India and other countries. India agreed to the conditionalities of World Bank and IMF and announced the new economic policy. This set of policies can broadly classified into two groups: the stabilization measures and the structural reform measures. Stabilization measures are short-term measures intended to correct some of the weaknesses in the balance of payments and to bring inflation under control. On the other hand, structural reform policies are long-term measures aimed at improving the efficiency of the economy and increasing its international competitiveness by removing the rigidities in various segments of the Indian economy. Now let us discuss about liberalization. Rules and laws which were aimed at regulating the economic activities became major hindrances in growth and development. Liberalization was introduced to put an end to these restrictions and open various sectors of the economy. Though a few liberalization measures were introduced in 1980s in areas of industrial licensing, export-import policy, technology upgradation, fiscal policy, and foreign investment. Let us discuss about deregulation of industrial sector. In India, regulatory mechanisms were enforced in various ways. Fir- First one, industrial licensing, under which every entrepreneur had to get permission from government officials to start a firm, close a firm, or decide the amount of goods that could be produced. Next, private sector was not allowed in many industries. Next, another one, some goods could be produced only in small scale industries. Next comes to controls on price fixation and distribution of selected industrial products. Reform policies introduced in and after 1991 removed many of these restrictions. Industrial licensing was abolished for almost all but product categories: alcohol, cigarettes, hazardous chemicals, industrial explosives, electronics, aerospace, and drugs and pharmaceuticals. The only industries which are now reserved for the public sector are a part of defense equipment, atomic energy generation, and railway transport. Now let us discuss about financial sector reforms. Financial sector includes financial institutions such as commercial banks, investment banks, stock exchange operations, and foreign exchange market. The financial sector in India is regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. The RBI decides the amount of money that banks can keep with themselves, fixed interest rates, nature of lending to various sectors, etc. One of the major aims of financial sector reforms is to reduce the role of RBI from regulator to facilitator of financial sector. The reform policies led to the establishment of private sector banks, Indian as well as foreign. Foreign investment limit in banks was raised to around 74%. Foreign institutional investors such as merchant bankers, mutual funds, pension funds are now allowed to invest in Indian financial markets. The rate of corporation tax, which was very high earlier, has been gradually reduced. Efforts also have been made to reform the indirect taxes. In 2016, the Indian Parliament passed a law, Goods and Services Tax Act 2016, to simplify and introduce a unified indirect tax system in India in 2017. This is expected to generate additional revenue for the government, reduce tax evasion, and create one nation, one tax, and one market. Now, let us discuss about foreign exchange reforms. The first important reform in the external sector was made in the foreign exchange market in 1991 as an immediate measure to resolve the balance of payment crisis. The rupee was devalued against foreign currencies. This led to an increase in the inflow of foreign exchange. It also set the tone to free the determination of rupee value in the foreign exchange market from government control. Finally, discuss about trade and investment policy reforms. Liberalization of trade and investment regime was initiated to increase international competitiveness of industrial production and also foreign investments and technology into the economy. In order to protect domestic industries, India was following a regime of quantitative restrictions. These policies reduced efficiency and competitiveness, which led to slow growth of the manufacturing sector. The trade policy reforms aimed at dismantling of quantitative restrictions on imports and exports, reduction of tariff rates, removal of licensing procedures for imports. Import licensing was abolished except in case of hazardous and environmentally sensitive industries. Quantitative restrictions on imports of manufactured consumer goods and agricultural products were also fully removed from April 2001. Export duties have been removed to increase the competitive position of Indian goods in the international markets. Now let us discuss about privatization. Government companies are converted into private companies in two ways. By withdrawal of the government from ownership and management of public sector companies and or by outright sale of public sector companies. Privatization of the public sector enterprises by selling off part of the equity of PSEs to the public is known as disinvestment. The purpose of the sale, according to the government, was mainly to improve financial discipline and facilitate modernization. The government envisaged that privatization could provide strong impetus to the inflow of FDI. The government has also made attempts to improve efficiency of PSUs by giving them autonomy in taking managerial decisions. For instance, some PSUs have been granted special status as Maharatnas, Mini Ratnas, and Navaratnas. Now let us discuss about globalization. Although globalization is generally understood to mean integration of the economy of the country with the world economy, it involves creation of networks and activities transcending economic, social, and geographical boundaries. Globalization attempts to establish links in such a way that the happenings in India can be influenced by events happening miles away. It is turning the world into one whole or creating a borderless world. Let us discuss about outsourcing. This is one of the important outcomes of the globalization process. In outsourcing, a company hires regular service from external sources, mostly from other countries, which was previously provided internally or from within the country. In recent times, because of the growth of fast modes of communication, particularly the growth of information technology, many of the services such as voice-based business processes, record keeping, accountancy, banking services, music recording, film editing, book transcription, clinical advice, or even teaching are being outsourced by companies in developed countries to India. Most multinational corporations and even small companies are outsourcing their services to India, where they can be availed at a cheaper cost with reasonable degree of skill and accuracy. The low wage rates and availability of skilled manpower in India have made it a destination for global outsourcing in the post-reform period. World Trade Organization. The WTO was founded in 1995 as the successor of Organization to the General Agreement on Trade and Tariff. GATT was established in 1948 with 23 countries as the Global Trading Organization to administer all multilateral trade agreements by providing equal opportunities to all countries in the international market for trading purposes. WTO agreements cover trade in goods as well as services to facilitate international trade, bilateral and multilateral through removal of tariff as well as non-tariff barriers and providing greater market access to all member countries. India has kept its commitments towards liberalization of trade made in the WTO by removing quantitative restrictions on imports and reducing tariff rates. Thank you. If you like this video, please share, subscribe, comment, and give suggestions.